The resounding triumph at the Battle of Montgizard in 1177 drastically altered the way Baldwin IV was perceived by both his allies and adversaries. Once regarded as a frail young king weakened by disease, he shattered that image by proving himself a capable military commander, exhibiting both tactical brilliance and unshakable bravery. His standing among the Crusaders rose significantly, reinforcing his legitimacy as ruler despite the ongoing rivalries at court. This victory not only bolstered the morale of the Christian forces in the Levant, but also deepened the belief that Baldwin was divinely chosen to safeguard Jerusalem. However, he remained acutely aware of the precariousness of his situation. Saladin would not remain passive indefinitely, and the Kingdom of Jerusalem required reinforcements and fortifications to withstand future attacks. Recognizing the necessity of both military and political backing, Baldwin IV sought to solidify his ties with the European aristocracy. In 1177, Count Philip of Flanders, a powerful noble with a formidable force of battle-hardened knights and soldiers, arrived in the Levant. As one of the most prominent figures in European politics, Philip's presence lent not only military strength but also considerable prestige to Baldwin's kingdom. Baldwin attempted to convince Philip to actively engage in campaigns against Saladin, but the Count of Flanders prioritized his own interests, focusing on securing influence over Antioch and Tripoli. Despite this reluctance, his temporary stay in the region reinforced Christian defenses and sent a message to Europe that Jerusalem remained a cause worth supporting. While negotiating with Philip, Baldwin also worked to cultivate alliances with the Byzantines and the rulers of Edessa and Tripoli, ensuring his kingdom would be prepared for any future Muslim offensives. Fully aware that the conflict with Saladin was far from over, Baldwin committed significant resources to fortifying strategic locations. One of the most ambitious projects undertaken during this period was the construction of the Chastellet, a fortress positioned near Jacob's Ford on the Jordan River. This stronghold was designed to exert control over the vital route between Damascus and Jerusalem, impeding Saladin's movements and shielding the area from incursions. Chastellet was a formidable structure, built with imposing walls, defensive towers, and a well-trained garrison of knights and soldiers. However, its very existence posed a direct challenge to Saladin's ambitions. Viewing the fortress as a major obstacle to his expansion, the Sultan swiftly assembled an army to demolish it before it could become an unbreachable stronghold. Baldwin IV's reign, now reinforced through strategic alliances and fortified defenses, braced itself for the inevitable retaliation from Saladin, who would not allow the growing strength of the Crusaders in the Holy Land to go unchallenged. Yet, despite his military and diplomatic achievements, Baldwin's health continued to decline at an alarming rate. The leprosy that had once been barely noticeable progressed relentlessly, limiting his mobility and gradually robbing him of his ability to lead troops directly. His fingers began to wither, and his vision deteriorated. The same king who had demonstrated great valor on the battlefield now faced an even more formidable battle within his own body. Understanding that he would not be able to govern much longer, Baldwin became increasingly preoccupied with securing a stable succession. The survival of the Kingdom of Jerusalem depended on a well-orchestrated transition of power, but deep divisions among the nobility made this a daunting task. In this context, Princess Sibylla, Baldwin's sister, emerged as a central figure. As the king's only direct heir, she played a crucial role in succession plans. The choice of her husband became a matter of great political importance, as it would determine the kingdom's future ruler. As the eldest daughter of Almaric I, Sibylla was the natural successor if Baldwin left no direct heirs. Raised at court, she received an education befitting her royal status, studying governance, diplomacy, and statecraft. She had long been prepared for a leadership role, shaped by the influence of Jerusalem's elites and her brother's closest advisors. Beyond formal education, Sibylla was trained to navigate the intricate web of alliances necessary to maintain stability in a region rife with both internal strife and external threats. Her mother, Agnes de Courtenay, was a highly controversial figure in the politics of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Though she had been stripped of the title of queen consort following Amalric's accession, she continued to wield significant behind-the-scenes influence at court. Her talent for forming alliances and manipulating political dynamics made her a decisive force in the selection of Sibyl's future husband. Agnes staunchly supported certain noble factions, using her position to ensure that her daughter's marriage would consolidate her own power and influence. This approach provoked tensions within the court, as many barons viewed Sibyl's marriage as a critical factor in the kingdom's stability. In 1776, Sibyl wed William of Montfort, known as Longuespie. He was a noble of high standing in both the Italian and French aristocracy, a seasoned warrior and a valuable strategic ally for Jerusalem. His prestigious lineage brought hope that he would father an heir to secure the dynasty's continuation. The marriage was celebrated with grandeur, and William's presence temporarily strengthened Sibyl's political position. However, their union was tragically short-lived. Just a year later, in 1177, William succumbed to a severe illness, likely malaria. His sudden death left Sibyl in a vulnerable state, particularly as she was pregnant with their first child. Following her husband's passing, Sibyl gave birth to Baldwin V, who would eventually inherit the throne. As both a widow and the mother of the future king, she became even more central to the kingdom's political landscape, drawing the attention of noble factions vying for control over her remarriage. William's death and Baldwin V's birth only intensified the struggle for power, positioning Sibyl at the heart of courtly intrigue. Around 1179, a French nobleman named Guy de Lusignan arrived in Jerusalem. Hailing from Poitou, he was a minor noble with little land or influence in Europe. Accompanied by his brother, Amalric de Lusignan, who had already gained favor at court, Guy sought to improve his status in the Holy Land. His arrival coincided with a period of great political upheaval. Amalric swiftly secured a prominent role as the kingdom's constable, and his close ties to both Sibyl and her mother paved the way for Guy to emerge as a contender in the succession struggle. By 1180, Sibyl had married Guy de Lusignan. The union was heavily backed by Agnes de Courtenay, who viewed it as a means of maintaining her influence over the court. However, the marriage sparked fierce opposition among the nobility. Key figures such as Raymond III of Tripoli and the powerful Ibelin family openly resisted the match, arguing that Guy lacked the ability to govern and that his rule would only further destabilize the kingdom. This growing division among the nobility exacerbated the already precarious situation within Baldwin IV's court. As his health deteriorated rapidly, the young king found himself not only contending with the ever-present threat of Saladin, but also with mounting internal strife that threatened to unravel the fragile unity of the Crusaders. Ultimately, this controversial marriage played a pivotal role in the unfolding crisis that would lead to the eventual downfall of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, setting the stage for the defining conflicts that would determine the fate of the Holy Land.